And there we are. Welcome to Monday Musing 37. I had a last minute panic there, Sam. Something stopped working on me just in the last second. Hello, I hope that you're all there. As you know from Sam's show on Saturday, we've had a few problems with the streaming on our channel at the moment, but we seem to be here and we seem to be working. And to make up for Saturday's demise, Sam is joining me on Monday Musing. So this is a proper Monday Musing special. Say hi, Sam.
Hi, Sam.
You know what? I knew you were going to do that. Okay, we've got a bunch of wonderful people in the chat, but we thought we'd do a bit of a group Monday Musing because it may have escaped your notice. It may not have, but there is a new edition of Warhammer Age of Sigmar coming out, Sam. You spotted this one in the news?
No, go on. I'm just replying on Facebook because somebody's asked, is Monday Musing on today as we go live? So just had to put that in there now before they missed it.
Need to get that up there as well. Everybody's saying it all seems to be fine and we can see and hear you. Okay, let me know if Sam is too loud or too quiet and I'll see what I can do about that. But I think we're okay. I think we seem to be working. And so, yeah, maybe we should start the show. So we're going to basically just spend the next sort of 45 minutes going through the news, having a look at what's been announced through the community site, and, you know, either arguing, disagreeing, agreeing on whether these things are good or bad for the new edition or not. We might have a look at faction focus. I had a quick peek at the Fire Slayers one when it first came out, so I'll have to brush up on that as we get to there. And I don't think, Sam, you've not played Iron Jaws in ages, but everybody loves your Iron Jaws, so maybe we need to see those.
They haven't changed, have they, really, that much? In the new edition, the character change. Well, we'll talk about the Lookout Cyril, but that might help them a little bit. Yeah. I don't know how dramatic it's going to be, though.
No, and that's the thing. There's not. I have seen some criticism of the lack of information that's coming out on the community site, and how quickly the worm has turned, really. Because you know, it used to be that you didn't hear anything at all until these products were announced on the shelves. And you might pick up some sort of random stuff via the rumor sites and all the rest, and some of it would be true, and some of it would be apocryphal. But now, of course, they're engaging with the community, seeding this information in nice and early, and of course, then everybody starts saying we want more. But doesn't everybody always want more? So understandable, maybe.
Yeah, it's never good enough, is it?
It's never good enough.
I think we had probably the best Warhammer Fest that I've been to, anyway, and there were still complaints. It was still there's still something not right. I don't get it.
I thought Warhammer Fest was amazing. I think it was. I did a review show of it. I think, like I said, I had one criticism. I felt some of the seminars could have done with a little bit more visual aid. But you know, that's just from my old. You know, some people absorb words, some absorb spoken voice, and some like pictures. So it's always good to do a mixture of those three mediums when you're doing a presentation sort of thing. And that's a tiny, tiny criticism on the scale of things compared to an amazing event. Absolutely thought it was brilliant. Well, we've got a bunch of people on chat. Maybe Sam can help look out on chat as well. I don't know. Can you? Well, there's a whole bunch of people. Steve Forrest is in there. Coleman, Elster Nation, Martin Dix. Oh, not going to say it all. 12 Neef. Hey, 12
Neef. Ralph as well. And Daryl.
Daryl.
Martin Dix.
Coleman.
Oh, I'm going to show you this as well for Martin.
All right, go for it.
I don't know if that's coming up on camera because you cropped everything. But
Yeah, no, that's coming up on camera. You're good. And what is that?
They're ogres for Martin because he's doing ogres, and so I said he can have all of my ogres.
That's a lot of ogres.
Yes. Daryl's just put points reductions for Maw Crushers, though. Yeah, that is true. That is going to be a huge bonus because Maw Crushers are quite expensive. They can destroy quite a lot of stuff, but I do feel like they're a lot higher points cost than they should be compared to some of the other bigger monsters that have now popped up in the Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
So that would be nice.
Well, let's jump into the rules before we get into factions, maybe, because I think we've had, over the announcements, I was just going through how much has happened since the 12th. So that's not a long time ago, but since the 12th, when they made the announcement at Warhammer Fest, we've had 2 announcements, 3 rule posts, and we've had faction focuses for Nighthaunt, Stormcast, Everchosen, Slanesh, Ironjaws, Fire Slayers, Maggotkin, Blades of Corn. So there's a lot a lot of information pouring out, a lot for everybody. But we're going to start with the 3 rules really, and a good place to start would be definitely, I think, the one that the community was probably overwhelmingly looking for was some kind of overhaul of turn priority.
I think it swayed the game far too much, didn't it?
Yeah. So do you think they've gone far enough? That's the question first and foremost with turn priority. This would be good if people can drop in at Wargamer Online in the chat, and we can see what people are saying out there as well. But the question is did they go far enough? Because I know a lot of people simply, and I think Patrick will probably chime in here, they wanted to see that double turn mechanic abolished, really, but that's not what's happened. What Sam, do you want to talk through what the change is?
Yeah, I mean, we won't, obviously with all of these rules, they won't make sense until we see all of the changes. So I can look at this right now and think I'm more than happy to get rid of the double turn mechanic, but it might make sense to keep it in. So obviously you have to see what the rest of the rules are like and see what the addition changes are in total before you can really talk about whether it's been done the right way or not. So what they did in the past, in current edition, is whoever deploys first gets to choose who gets first turn, goes first on the first turn or goes second. They get the choice, and then both players will have a go, and then on the second turn both players will then roll off. And it could be that the person who went second on the first turn was able to go first on the second turn, and they got a double turn. That meant like armies got destroyed practically. If you get a double turn in Age of Sigmar, it can be the end of your army very, very quickly. So it's quite a big thing in the game. So what they've done this time now is, if you went first in the first turn, I'm really bad at it. Why did you make me do this, Phil? I'm really bad at this. If you went first in the first turn,
yep. I've got the graphic up on screen, by the way, if that helps as well. So just in case you can't see the preview, I have brought the graphic up on screen.
Okay, well, we'll just follow that then. So player 1, yeah, whoever went first in the previous battle round.
Yep.
Player 2 wins the roll off. So player 2 decides who will take the first turn. So that's standard. If you win the roll, you get to choose who goes first in the second battle round. If you roll off is tied, however, the person who went first in the previous turn will automatically lose that roll, so they will go second in the next one. So it just means that if you are able to take a second turn, then you may, if you've had a good previous turn, you might end up letting your opponent do their turn first. That's pretty much what I get from it. That's the strategy behind it, really, isn't it? It's choose to take your double turn at the right time, but there's nothing stopping you from getting double turn after double turn again. It's just a tiebreaker more than anything. If you roll a tie, then it's down to that. But I think we see a lot of ties for priority rolls, and it will make a difference. But I think it could be bigger.
That was the first thing I thought about was, it's like, how big a deal is this? How much of a change has this made? And then I just cast my mind back to how many times that priority roll has been a draw, tied, and you just roll again, and there's that tension in that second roll. Whoa, Stephen Forrest has just donated £20. Thanks, Stephen, you're a star, man. Cheers. The idea that if you went first in the previous round and you tie, that gives you the advantage, doesn't it, then? So you can then take the first turn in the next battle round, isn't it? So you can dodge, on a tie, you can dodge the double turn. But like you said, there might be a time where you go, you know what, I'll take the double turn. I'll go for it because I can receive the double turn right now. I'm in a strong position. They're not very well deployed to do anything, even with 2 turns in a row, or their arm is significantly depleted or something. So I like it because now it feels like there's an additional tactical element around this, whereas before it just felt like the dice gods were either with you or against you.
I mean, just looking at this without knowing what's going on with the rest of the edition, I don't know what was wrong with just having it like 40k 8th edition turn rules, where one person goes, then the other person goes, and base the game and the balance around that. I think this mechanic can sometimes make or break the game, and with the amount of effort you go into with army lists, tactics, and scenarios, and all of this sort of stuff, having the game lost based on a priority dice roll sometimes feels a little bit, it's not as tactical as it could be if they made the rest of the game work around the turns that went in a certain order. I think 40k. The one thing that I like about 40k more than Age of Sigmar is the turn system. I think Age of Sigmar would benefit from it, but without the rest of the changes, I don't know how much it's going to change other than that.
I think it's fair to say though, is you like predictability, don't you? Because you plan quite a lot with your armies and your lists and stuff. You take into account a lot of variables, don't you? So for you, the turn sequence, maybe that random element to it is probably less welcome. If you don't. I have to say, I wasn't a fan of it at all either, and I think that was more to do with just that experience that I'm not sure I've ever seen a game where if my opponent or I won double turn on the switch over between turn 1 and 2, whether I ever saw anybody ever recover from that. It was it was so influential at the start of the game, not necessarily towards the end of the game,
I think my thing is more that it's such a huge impact. I don't mind having reactive gameplay and responding to whatever happens. That's good, and it makes it tactical. And like you say, you can't plan 3 turns ahead. You can't make your army list and plan what it's going to do in every single game that you play. But I think the problem lies mainly with certain armies being able to dominate if they have that double turn. And that's where I'm hoping the rest of the stuff is going to be fixed. I mean, we know there's going to be changes coming to shooting and removing characters and using command points that can stop things feeling as, losing things as quickly as you do currently with a double turn. So maybe that's going to balance it out, and the double turn isn't going to be such a huge thing. Because I know, like if Patrick got a double turn with the Tzeentch, you'd be dead. There's no coming back from that. You've been destroyed by magic in one turn, and the next turn you may as well pack up and go home. Certain armies can really dominate with having that double turn. Certain armies don't. It's not a major thing just to go twice with some armies. It just doesn't work for them as well.
Yeah, I've seen some interesting stuff in the chat actually. I mean, I think Ralph making the point around, people, need to wait to see all of the rule changes in totality before you can really make an assessment of it. Martin Dix has just donated £10 as well. Thank you, Martin. That's great. Thank you very much, guys. That's really good. It always, it really helps. We've both been working pretty hard on the channel lately as well, and investing a chunk back into. We're going to talk a little bit about the new Zoom camera, which is installed both here and at the studio as well, so that's exciting stuff. We'll have a look at that later, but it's wonderful people like you donating to the channel that enables us to do stuff like that, so thank you. Back to the chat, we've got Pan Kakamed styled. I hope I did alright there. Double turn mechanic is awesome. Game would be worse without it. Martin Dick saying can't beat the classic roll-off for turns to start. Andy 1980, the change is a small thing, doesn't seem to have a huge impact in my opinion. Double turn should still be a possibility. So I'm not seeing, a lot of people going, just get rid of it. It's interesting, isn't it? There's a few people actually quite happy for it to be in there. And I think, strangely enough, I do think I've come round with this change. I wasn't a fan at all without, but with this change, I'm okay now. I like the... You do have to take it into account. You do have to consider tactically what happens if I don't get the double turn, You do think about your army organisation to give you the bonus, so you're dropping your army as fast as possible. It's those things are all part of the mechanic, aren't they? What's one of the things I like about Fire Slayers is I can deploy 1,000 points, in the bat of an eyelid, basically. It's awesome. What else we got? Steve says, I'm stoked for the new priority mechanic. The amount of times I've rolled a tie, 2 right. Ralph says, with the changes to command abilities, the priority changes opens up a whole new set of tactical options. Well, exactly. Well, let's have a look at command abilities next. I'm just going to do the last couple of comments there. Isn't it a risk of losing the double turn what adds the strategic element? Because you have to temper your battle plan with caution because of the unknown. Yeah, that's it. I think you're absolutely right. Ian Stanford says evening. Go on.
Steve put for his donation, looking forward to AOS 2 and Throne of Scores because he's going to Throne of Scores, which is the 2K solo event. And Martin's book covered the postage for awesome generosity, which was pretty good. I always like the little messages that people put when they donate, so I like to.
Oh, that's the thing, is it pops up so fast on mine, I missed it. So are you going to have to show me how you find that out? And I'm sure you've shown me before, but let's do that. Let's do that when we're not live. MCM 1966. I mentioned we bumped into at the Burger Van queue at Warhammer Fest, didn't we? And had a great time with that guy. So I think it's okay, as I never seem to get the first turn in 40k, and that can make a big difference to the game. So in AOS, not getting the first turn, but then maybe getting the double turn will help. There you go. It is that little payback, isn't it? Right. All his dusters, all his kit bashing now. Okay, let's move on to command points, I think, and have a little chat about that. So, shall I put Sam on the spot again? That's the question. What's
These
your
ones
thoughts?
I don't mind.
Pardon?
I just don't like the ones where you've got to go like turn, second turn, first turn, player one, player two. Too many numbers, too much stuff.
Yeah.
Don't really work with that. Command abilities, I think this is something I've wanted for ages. Like another thing from 40k, which was so good, were the command points.
Yeah.
I think I mean, it's not being used in the same way from what we can see so far, but well, this is just the command abilities, isn't it?
Can
It's
I just
not
say that
necessarily-
Skegatrons does donate a £10 as well, Sam? So again,
Really?
thank you very much, Skegatron.
Thank you.
That's
Okay,
awesome.
Let
Maybe
me get the message before we go on.
please
He's
do.
put XXX.
Oh, there you go. You know what? All that stress we had building up to this show, where we were basically screaming at each other trying to get our respective internets to work. Not in an angry way. We were just both really frustrated with our internet, weren't we? That kind of feels like it's worthwhile.
I'm ready to become a hermit, an Age of Sigmar hermit, and just find a cave and live in it for the rest of my life.
You were just saying, I don't want to touch technology ever again. It's just
No.
not enough. Okay, command abilities. We've got Inspiring Presence. You can use this command ability at the start of a battle shock phase. If you do so, pick a friendly unit within 6 inch of a friendly hero, or 12 inch of a hero that is the general. The unit does not have to stay battle shock. So that was the command ability that we've always had. So
Well, you've missed a big section of this.
Pardon? I have missed a big section. Do you want to jump? Go on then.
No, carry on. Carry on.
I was just going to go through those kind of, because at the double and forward onto victory has relevance for the Fire Slayer list later. So I did jump down the page a little bit, but you can come back up. So you can use at the double when you make a run for a friendly unit that's within 6 inch of a hero, or 12 inches of a hero that is the general. If you do so, the run roll is treated as being a 6, which is for my Fire Slayers, which plod around at 4 inches at a time. That's like super useful. I'm just going to be at the doubling constantly. I
think some of these changes I like these the most. These are the when they did this change, I was like, yeah, it's good. The command ability alone, I think, has been nerfed, because Inspiring Presence in the past, it used to be, I think it was basically you pick a unit and they're immune from battle shock until your next hero phase, which is massive. You can have a big block of 30. Put that on it, and you know that they're safe. You can charge it into anything, and as long as it doesn't get destroyed, they're not going to run away in terms of bravery. Now they've nerfed it quite a lot, to be honest, because although you can respond with this and you can activate it at the start of a battle shock phase in yours or your opponent's battle shock phase, so whenever you need it, you can use it. But it only lasts for a turn. It basically covers you for a battle shock phase. So I think with these new command abilities and using these command points, you use them as and when you need them. You don't put them on to cover you till your next hero phase, which I think is a huge change, which is going to take a bit of time to get used to, because the other thing was the command points. That was the big point of this, wasn't it? That in the past, if you're general, with your general, you can use command abilities. So in the past, only your commander, your general, could use it. So it would sometimes be a bit weird, because you'd pick a general based on their command ability. Or like my case with the Bray Herd, I wanted my general to be my shaman, because it meant I could give him +1 to cast. However, if I did that, he has no command ability other than Inspiring Presence. So it made no sense. And I didn't want to give the Beast Lord the generalship, because I didn't really need to put the command ability onto him at the time. Now, what this does is it means every single command ability in your army list you can use. And the way you use them is you spend command points, and you get them. You get one every single turn. I think it was one every single turn.
Yes, yeah, it's one a turn, isn't it?
One a turn, and you'll get an additional point at the beginning of the game per War Scroll battalion that you've got. So paying for those formations now gives you an additional command point at the beginning of the game, which is, it could have been bigger, to be honest. I was chatting to Pink, and I said every turn. I think every turn would have been too powerful, because you could have properly made your list around battalions. But battalions are so expensive that I think having an extra point makes sense in that.
Do you think I understand to a degree though the command ability being nerfed, if you like, because you've got more options to exercise them now. Like you said, Inspiring Presence is only used in the Battle Shock phase, but it is used by you can activate it from any hero, rather than it being from. So you could do it. You could actually have 3 of your heroes do Inspiring Presence in one turn to if you, for instance, when I'm using Fire Slayers, my favourite rune in turn 2, or depending if I've got the double turn or not, but my favourite rune is the one that basically negates Battle Shock across the whole army. And the reason I like that is at a time where your opponent's at their strongest and therefore they can do the most damage, not having to remove additional casualties because of Battle Shock is so useful. So I can see you using this in a similar way. If you haven't got that ability across your army as a whole, I can see you locking down the army from, particularly if you've taken a lot of casualties on a unit and you're going to be more or less removing the rest of the unit. This could be quite significant as long as you've got a hero hanging around close by. And given the next thing, which I'm sure we're going to look at, the Lookout Sir, you are going to have heroes hanging around their units. It just makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, like when you said you might activate the Inspiring Presence 3 times in a turn, I don't think you'll ever do that, because it's 3 points. Bearing in mind you're only getting 1 a turn, and you get 1 additional one per battalion. So most army lists, even at 2k, you're probably going to take 2 battalions max, and that's so you're going to start the game with 3 command points, but you can only use those 2 additional ones once during the game, and then they're gone. You don't get them as quickly as you'd expect. So I think these are, rather than just chucking command abilities on willy-nilly, you are going to be using them at the right time. But I think that's the change. You've got almost like a toolkit that you can use as and when you need it, but the big change is going to be around putting more heroes in your army lists, because at the minute it's more like a tax. Like you take your 1 HQ, your 1 hero, you take your 2 battle line in 1,000 points, and then you fill it out with all the good funky stuff that you want. So it always felt like when you started paying your hero cost, it was a bit of a tax, because you could pay 140 points for a dwarf, or you could pay 180 points for 10 dwarves. So you would always try and get the numbers and be able to capture more objectives with the bigger numbers than you would just chucking a hero in. Whereas now they've got more use. They can be used to react to things that have happened in the game. With the Lookout Sir, they're going to be around a lot longer. So I think we're going to see more. It's going to be back to Hero Hammer, I think, this edition.
Yeah, I think so. I look at the Fire Slayer list I've developed for the 2,000 points. And, of course, one thing that Fire Slayers has got, they've not got a lot of troop units. They've not really got a lot of units full stop. But I think 75% of the available models are heroes on foot for 80 points. We might see a point change, but yes, you're definitely going to be seeing more of these heroes on the table. And those 30 strong units start to look less desirable if you can kind of open this up a little bit more with the heroes. Do you not think, though, as you said, there's not going to be that many command points to spend, but do you not think, like in 40k, we'll start to see a proliferation of ways of earning command points? Besides battalions, already in 40k, what we've seen in the latest, I think it's one of the beta rules, isn't it? Is it a beta rule or one of the actual rules, where now you're getting 5 command points for a standard battalion rather than 3? I just think this is the start of a mechanic. It's not necessarily the end of it, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I think whatever they do with command points, if they give you more command points, you're just going to see an increase in heroes. I think that's just going to go with it. The more command points you have access to, the more heroes you're going to get, and it will become closer and closer to Hero Hammer than Horde Hammer. So I think that switch might speed up games as well, because obviously you just said if you have these games at the moment where you have 2 30-man block battle lines that just swamp the board, they capture all the objectives, you can't get past them, and it does slow down the game because you've got to move all of those models while you're playing as well. Having more heroes in the game allows Games Workshop, 1, to sell the nice fancy heroes that they've made, 2, you can get them painted up quickly and put them in your list. You can build armies faster than what you currently can if you're going to be playing Horde Hammer. So I think there's going to be a bunch of switches and changes, but I definitely think we're going to see more elite armies, or at least numerous amounts of heroes. They might even increase the limit of heroes that you're allowed in your lists, maybe. I don't know.
Which would be good. I think that would be good to see. Again, just like you say, it's that move away from Horde Hammer, which I wouldn't miss terribly, would you? You know, there's almost too much of a benefit to those super large units at the moment. So
yeah, I mean, I think that the big units will still benefit, because if you look at these command abilities, they still affect a unit.
Yeah, true.
So you chuck one of these in and make it. What's the second one? You can run. So for my Bestigors, my Brayherd, you can use this command ability after you make a run roll that is within 6 inches of a friendly hero, or 12 inches of a friendly hero that is the general. If you do so, the run roll is treated as 6 instead. So my Bestigors, they get, I think, +1 to their run move as it is, and they can charge after they've ran as well, and they've got like 5 or 6 inch movement. So I'm guaranteed with that command ability to move like 10 to 12 inches in the movement phase, and I can still charge. That's massive for Brayherd, for Bestigors anyway. So I think I'll use that ability now. And my Beast Lord, which was basically thrown at the biggest thing that I could find, now will be deployed next to my Bestigors and running alongside them, because it now allows me to use the double move and get into combat. Stewie's literally running around the room.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be a show without Stewie getting involved at some point. The chat's been going crazy. Before we move on to look out, sir, do you want to have a quick look at the chat? Is there anything that stuck out for you?
Let me have a look.
I think Andy1980 says, so command abilities turn from something you had to plan to something you use reactively. I'm not yet sold on it, but I've never played 40k, so I don't know how this turns out. I like it. I think you like it. That's what we said. Every time you end up picking up the dice for an Age of Sigmar game and something goes wrong, you just go, where's my command abilities?
Well, it works differently, doesn't it? In 40k, you have more command points available, but it allows you to use them for rerolls, which is massive, because in the amount of games that I've played, Phil, you've seen most of them. Yeah. When you need to roll anything other than a 1-1, you will roll a 1-1, and having command points allows you to take one of those and re-roll it, and you will still roll the 1 most times. But it gives you another backup. So when you make a terrible roll that just doesn't happen until you...
Oh, that's a subscriber. Sorry about that. That's Dale Doherty subscribing. Hey, Dale.
Thank you. It allows you to get out of those really sticky situations that shouldn't really happen when you've planned it really well. But I don't know whether that's going to come to Age of Sigmar or not. Reactive gameplay is definitely the way that Games Workshop's going now, not stuff that you can plan out from an army list, which is a good way to play it.
Yeah. We've got MCM 1966. No, talking about ice cream and warm weather. So sorry, that's not the comment I was looking for. Daryl says this is probably why I love Age of Sigmar so much. Most armies have so much more to give than their surface theme, and it gives the game so much more depth.
Stewie.
By the way, nobody can see this, but I can see it because I've got the raw footage. But I can see Stewie going down the back of your green screen and having a little nibble at the case while you were talking there. So if you're wondering why I was giggling, I was just watching Stewie trying to destroy the show.
He's on the hallway now. Look, look at it. Devil rabbit.
He's so cute. Right, okay then. What else have we got? We've got Steve saying, yes, take Nagash and Arkan together as with the new command abilities, and I can extend Hand of Dust to 9 inches. That sounds filthy, Steve. Typical of you to come up with such a plan. Ralph says...
And 1 command point for every 50 points not used in match play.
Ah, that's cool.
I didn't see that. Where's that on?
I'm not sure. I've seen that actually. I'm also reading later on as well that your commander can use a command point per turn for free. Is that right? Your general. I read that later as well. So
you basically get 2 command abilities every turn, which is double the amount that you were used to be able to do. But if that's true, if you can take 50 points off your army list, my army lists are going to get a little bit smaller, just so I can take more.
I can see you showing up to 1,000-point army with like 200 points of models and a boatload of command points.
Yeah. I'm going to reroll everything. Although it's not rerolls. I'm going to command ability everything. And I've 7 here.
Okay, let's see if we've got anything else. Some special rules allowed using command abilities from heroes different to your generals. Will those things be dropped? It's a good question. I dare say we'll see. In General's Handbook 2018, which is still going to be a thing, isn't it? They're still doing a General's Handbook to accompany this release. We will see all of those things being addressed, I should imagine, and if not, addressed within the 2-week cycle where they go for FAQs. So,
well, there was a Chaos. I think one of the Chaos heroes, I can't remember which one it is, but it allows you to use all of your command abilities from Chaos, which is basically what you can do anyway. So they'll probably change that ability. The other one that I saw was I think it was one of the death units. You know, the vampires on the back of the throne. I
Yeah.
think it was that unit. That command ability. If you roll for the priority roll and you tie, you get to choose who gets the first turn. So obviously the rules are changing for the priority. I don't know how that's going to affect that either. So there's two things that I need to see as soon as they bring out General's Handbook. We'll see if they've changed them.
Well, one of the questions I was kind of asking myself is this really a new edition? You know, I get it's early to ask that question because we're getting drips and drabs of just a few rule changes. But when you start to talk like that, I think anything that makes you completely rethink the way your army is deployed and played, and it's where its combat effectiveness lies, then essentially yes, you're into the realms of a new edition or a new battle tome. You know, this is tipping some of the stuff on its head, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, the way that I look at it, you've got the General's Handbook, which changes points and tweaks rules here and there, like tweaks balance issues. That's what General's Handbook's there. It's to tweak the balance, whereas the edition is where we're seeing the rules changes. So it definitely, in my opinion, is a new edition 100%, because it is changing. I mean, I'm looking at my army list now for my Carajons, where I've got one hero and then everything else is flying boats and dudes on the back of them, and I've got to chuck in a bunch more heroes now. There's no way around it. I've got to get a bunch of extra heroes because it just won't work in the new edition.
That's a whole bunch of more scratch building you've got to do there. I mean, it's good to see, though. It's good to see. Right, and if anybody is tuning into us for the first time and hasn't seen what Sam's doing with his human faction of Karajan Overlords, check out the community Facebook page and the blogs, the forum as well on wargameronline.com as well.
I haven't put it up there yet, actually.
Haven't you? You need to get posting. Sam.
I've got it here. You saw the nails that I put on it, didn't you?
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. Every little
the scale of it. Look at it next to my head. It's massive. I've got a big head as well.
Just show the top of it as well, because it was just how it's integrated with the planks and the actual.
Oh, you mean that?
Yeah, actual view down there. It's just amazing. I love the extra planks they've got, because obviously they're humans. They're a bit bigger. They just need that little bit more space on deck, don't they? You know.
I love the captain. He's my favourite part. He's got a little captain's wheel and he sits in the back of the boat. Oh, that's not a captain, that's my navigator. Anyway, I like the captain. He's cool. I've got so much converting stuff. I was building today and I ended up just sorting out internet issues. Anyway, let's carry on.
Jake Davison Throne just subscribed. So hey Jake, how you doing? Right, what else have we got? I'm jumping down the quite. I'm just looking out for the Wargamer Online comments actually. So one command point for 50 points is in the faction focus, in today's faction focus. So there you go. We'll have to check that one out. Cool. And I think that's it basically at that point. Steve's talking about that's the Throne Coven, which no longer has that ability. So there you go. Right, Daryl says, I've taken the plunge and started a wee gaming club in my town. We have our first meeting on Friday. Also, there's a bar, whiskey and warfare. Daryl, post up what town you're in as well. So do that in the chat. I don't think you can do any links, but at least you can tell people what to search for. Right, okay, whilst Daryl's doing that, let's have a look at the next one. Look out, sir. So, Sam, seeing as though I skipped over the most important stuff because I was excited about, by the way, the one faction focus I didn't talk about. The one command thing, which was forward to victory. So the fact that I could roll, re-roll the charge roll. I can already re-roll one dice with one of my command abilities, but with the banners, in my units, but or the musicians rather. But to re-roll the whole charge would be absolutely awesome for me, particularly because they're guaranteed to be within 6 inches of a hero if I've deployed them via the volcanic magma deployment, because they have to come up within 3 inches of a battle smiter anyway, a rune smiter anyway. So dead excited about that. But moving back to Lookout Sir. So before I miss the details, Sam, what have we got to say about Lookout Sir?
This isn't a big one that you can really miss. They put in a rule. So it's called Lookout Sir, very similar to not very similar, but kind of like the 40k rule that we used to have. If you're shooting at a hero, so it has to be a hero that isn't a monster, and they're within 3 inches of a unit, which has 3 or more models in it, then you're up -1 to hit them. and it's only for missile weapons, so it doesn't make any difference for magic or anything like that. It's literally just for missile weapons, which is great. Now I've done a pure shooting army for the new Age of Sigmar, that stuff that I'm doing, but it allows you to have your characters alongside your units and doing all of the buffing and the command abilities that they're going to be there for without having them picked off. And I think it means now more than ever, if you're in a game against somebody and you see their heroes, they're going to be the priority target, and you're going to want to remove them in whichever way you can. So magic is probably going to be the most reliable way of deleting heroes now, and I think that's what we're going to see.
I mean, saying that, Subtract 1, it's not shutting it down completely, is it? No. -1 to hit is not shutting it down completely, and I think it's a balanced rule. I like it. It's frustrating to have no kind of cover for your heroes at all in any respect. And I played a game recently with my Fire Slayers where I was in combat with one unit and simply shot over the heads of that unit and took out the commander behind, ruining all of the boons from that commander. And I kind of felt the pain of my opponent as he just watched 20 Fire Slayers throw their little axes over the head of the people they were combating to kill the character behind. So I know that's not necessary, but -1 to hit would maybe enough to leave them on the table with 1 or 2 wounds rather than guaranteed delete. That's the thing, isn't it? That's what we're really talking about. It just tips the scale a little bit, doesn't it?
I think certain armies are going to be heavily hit by this. You look at some of the ranged units that people have got where they're hitting on 5s or 6s. -1 is going to be like massive. Even the Caradrons, I think a lot of mine are hitting on 4s, which go up to 5s, and you think -1's not much, but it is still quite a bit. And I think they should have put something in where magic is affected, because just taking -1 off missile weapons is, it can be major for some armies. But think about all of the magic armies out there at the moment that are going to be able to snipe any characters they want. It's going to be I think it's going to be Hero Hammer with loads of magic everywhere. That's what this new edition is.
Well, it's no surprise that we'll see focus on magic when we're seeing all of those wonderful models coming out for like this kind of period of magic, is it? So yes, it may be the age of magic in the Age of Sigmar for a while, maybe. I think you're absolutely right. Magic are the new snipers, aren't they, really?
They just destroy everything, don't they?
Well, yeah.
I think some of the combinations you can get with this rule are going to be good as well. So -1 to hit is difficult for some armies anyway, but if you've got like a Necromancer in the Death Army, I think they've got a rule where even if you inflict a wound onto the Necromancer, if they're near another unit, which they will be for this Lookout Sir rule, on a 4 they ignore it and the unit takes the hit anyway. So if you have a block of 60 zombies and like 2 or 3 Necromancers just sitting behind it, you can push all of those zombies forward. You can constantly give them all the command abilities, so they get to do all the special stuff. They can get extra attacks. You can res them, and if your Necromancers ever come under fire, it's fine because they're -1 to hit now, and on a 4-up, then one of the zombies will take the hit instead. So I think some units will benefit greatly from this rule, even more than they did before.
So that I'm thinking of Steve. That's Steve's favourite rule, isn't it? To have his Necromancer constantly dishing out the wounds to his zombies. So I can't imagine his face now. He's going to be smiling from ear to ear, isn't he? As I do my best to take out those pesky Necromancers, which are dreadful. Right. Well, quick look at the chat. I think Daryl is just saying where he's based. We haven't got any social media presence. I don't know whether I've missed the rest of it, but. Daryl, I'm sure he says he's going to post something up in the forum. So there you go, on the forum and then the Facebook when they're up and running. So there you go. Johan says, are you posting an AOS back rep every week? Really like our AOS back reps. We're moving with the 2nd edition coming out soon. I've just uploaded, I think, 2 or 3 of our premium back reps to YouTube that were General Handbook 2017. So we're certainly going to be releasing those over the next few weeks. We might as well, because we'll be replacing those very quickly on premium with General's Handbook 2018. So a lot of the more sort of the current releases going up there. So yes, the quick answer to that is yes, we will be posting more Age of Sigmar battle reports. As you can imagine, at the moment, in terms of what we're filming, though, I think the next 3 battle reports I've got for filming is going to be 40k. as we wait for the new edition of Age of Sigmar. But as I've said, we're releasing some of the premium ones over to YouTube, so you'll get to see more then. Okay.
I think that's with all of it, isn't it? We're starting to do more premium content, and we're starting to trickle more of it over. And I think the more we do, and the faster we get at it, then the more content we'll have all over. But the premium side of things, we've always tried to release stuff fairly regularly on there, whereas YouTube suffered a little bit just because we want to, get everything on premium, so that people who are paying £3 a monthly fee or whatever, they get extra content, and then we can take bits from there and put them on YouTube as and when we need to. So I think we're going to be doing a lot of Age of Sigmar, aren't we, when new rules come out? And you're obviously doing the 40k. I still need to get my army sorted for 40k.
Get it done, Sam. C. Mawson, really need to update my WGOC forum post. So that's the WGO. Help me out, Sam. I forgot the word. Chronicles. Thank you. So that's the Chronicle post. Check those out. Sam, you did a show recently, didn't you, going through the Chronicles as well? So
last week or the week before, whenever my internet wasn't dying. You can do the next one.
I can't believe I mentioned that. Ant Evans says, "Evening, chaps. I've decided to take my first step into Age of Sigmar with 2nd edition coming soon, and I've decided on Moon Clan. Any top tips? Sam, you got anything to say on Moon Clan? You looked into them a little bit, didn't you? Okay. You did look into them.
You can either go properly elite or you can go horde. So you have loads and loads of Moon Clan grots. The army list that I was going to do, which was just utterly filthy but very elite, for 1,000 points, I think I had the squig spitter thing from Forge World.
Yeah.
2 or 3, I think it was 2 mangler squigs, because those things are disgusting. And then as battle line, I think I took the squig hoppers, because I think they're battle line if you have a Moon Clan as your army. Yeah. So the whole army was themed around squigs. You have, I think it was 2 of those Forge World spitter things, by the way. So 2 really nasty ranged units. They've only got about 6 wounds each, so you've got to look after them. But they can just dish out some nasty mortal wounds. But in front of those, you have 2 big mangler squigs that people won't go near. So that's almost your defense. And then you have your squig hoppers just jumping around doing whatever squig hoppers do. You could replace some of those with bigger grot units, and you could just surround the artillery that you've taken as well. And obviously your shamans, take as many of those shamans and the special character as possible, because all of that in combination is going to be really good in the new edition.
So there you go. That's the lowdown on Moon Clan. You've painted, actually, help me. You've posted on the Facebook page, but you have been painting goblins, haven't you? Or at least spider goblins. I know it's not the same, but does that mean there's a tutorial coming out for that?
Yes. This may be premium again first. This one was for Aaron Dembski-Bowden, who requested a spider video. However, I'm still working on this blasted base. I bought this, the crackle paint from AK Interactive.
Oh, yeah.
It's rubbish. The wet crackle. So I did 3 attempts on this, and this is what slowed down. I painted this model Friday, this spider dude, ready for it to go up ASAP. I needed to edit it still. And I've been waiting for this base to be sorted, which it still hasn't been done. So I'm going to finish this, and then I'm going to edit it this week. And then hopefully it'll be up on premium this weekend, or this week, probably Friday or something maybe.
Cool. I'm kind of semi-cursing Mr. Aaron Dembski-Bowden at the moment, because I'm listening to the Emperor of Mankind, and I simultaneously now urgently need to do a Mechanicum army, Custodes army, Sisters of Silence. It's just you listen. It's an audio book. I'm listening to it on my journey to work and back, and just every chapter just makes you want to do whatever that chapter's about. It's just amazing.
Yeah, he is pretty good. That's the one I need to read. All of his older stuff, I've read most of it, but I haven't read Master of Mankind yet, and I know it's the best one yet from what I've heard.
I was thinking, I was driving home from work listening to it, and I'm not going to say it's a scene. It's no secret, like, part of it's in the webway, and it's a scene involving a whole bunch of Titans. Got to the end of that. Yeah, of course, now I want to do Titans, absolutely, before we even start anywhere. And then I was just like, every book I read from now on is going to be, like, measured against this book. It's just, wow, awesome work.
But it was the same with the First Heretic. I read the First Heretic, which Aaron wrote as well, and it's word bearers, and I hated word bearers. They were the worst legion in the entire heresy. I absolutely despised them. and I read the first Heretic, and I fell in love with them, and instantly bought an army and did the Galvor back and everything. It's just such a good story. If you can get the first Heretic, read it. One thing I do need before we go on, Phil, is I need suggestions on audiobooks for 40k armies, just to get me into the 40k vibe, because I think that's what's going to do it more than anything. If I can get a really good audiobook to listen to, and maybe a series or something which shows an army in a really cool light, then I may take a listen to it and start a new army based on the audiobook, rather than just picking one that I like the look of, because that hasn't worked so far.
I think I've got one you can borrow, the Mask of Vi, which is Harlequins, and that's awesome. And Harlequins are just coming out, so you never know, Sam. Do you think you could paint 1,000 little check patterns? That's what everybody's face does when you say Harlequins.
They just stay quiet and then hope the conversation moves on.
But the book is great. The book is absolutely great. Right, okay then. Where are we? I'm just trying to catch up with the chat. Ralph says, bear in mind that there has to be an enemy unit with 3 models within 3 inches. I'm not quite sure what that's a reference to. So an enemy unit with 3 models within 3 inches. Is that for the Lookout Sir?
Yeah, so the Lookout Sir rule, it says you must subtract 1 from the hit rolls made from missile weapons if the target of the attack is an enemy hero that's within 3 inches of an enemy unit that has 3 or more models. They've just written it in a way which has confused a bunch of people.
Yes.
Because you don't have to have your hero within 3 inches of an enemy unit. You have to have your personal hero within 3 inches of your own unit.
Yeah.
And then the enemy are hitting you on -1s.
Yeah.
They just worded it slightly different.
Yeah. It's one of those wordings. But I think we all know what they mean. Keep you guys near your units. Make sure your units are more than 3 dudes. And you're on to a winner. 3 or more, actually. So.
Oh, I didn't see that. Seymour, did you read this out? Saying Caradon Overlord Arcanaut Company have +1 to hit heroes, so they'll be hitting heroes on their base roll, which isn't as bad as it could be. That's awesome. I didn't know that.
No. Right, okay then. We've got about 15 minutes left, so let's have a quick look at some of the... I just want to pop into a couple of the faction focus. As I've said, we're not getting a huge amount of information, but a couple of bits on the Fire Slayers that are later down. Really what they're talking about is how your army is going to benefit from the command abilities at the moment. That seems to be, some of the faction focus is how they can benefit from that. But there are a couple of little sneaky bits at the bottom here. We've got the Magma Drop Blood Vials. So in your shooting phase, you can pick an enemy unit within 8 inches of the bearer and roll a dice. On a 4+, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So... that seems pretty good. It lets you add a range attack to one of your heroes. It's okay. I've never been a huge fan of something that just does 1 mortal wound.
No.
And I think because it's so situational, isn't it? What you want is that guy left with 1 wound that you really needed to remove. But how often that's going to happen in the shooting phase? That's the thing, isn't it? It's the shootings at the beginning, you go through combat, you kind of, usually you wouldn't take someone out like that anyway, because you'd be fairly confident combat would do it. And again, it's 8 inch, but it's a thing doing mortal wounds. So, and we've got the Essence of Volcatrix. Once per battle at the start of your hero phase, the bearer may drink the Essence of Volcatrix. If they do so, I should imagine it's somewhat like a strong single malt whiskey, Sam. If they do so, you roll a dice, and on a 1, the bearer suffered D3 mortal wounds. On a 2+, you add 1s to hit and wound rolls for the bearer until your next hero phase. So again, this is coming to your hero hammer theory, isn't it? This is making heroes even more powerful, yeah?
Yeah, they should just rename this whole edition Hero Hammer plus Magic.
Magic-y Hero Hammer. Okay. I'm trying to think. There was a couple of other bits, but like I say, what they're really talking about is the ability to have all of your command abilities available to you in any one turn, and using things like the Furious Onslaught from the Magma Drop, which enables you to roll 3 dice on the charge. We've talked about that being important, and you can do that alongside your other command abilities. Again, I think it's early days with these faction focus. We're not getting a huge amount of information, but enough to at least whet your appetite, I suppose. That's the thing. It does make me want to finish painting my million little spiky orange-haired mohawks. I need to get them done, basically, don't I? Because we need to start to do some 2,000 point battles with these guys, I think. Right.
That means I've got to do 2,000 points of Caradron Overlords, though.
Well, you know, I'm fairly safe. You've already got all of that planned, haven't you, Sam? There's a lot of plastic hanging around your hobby desk at the moment, ready for conversion.
Yeah, that's the difficult bit. Yeah.
Do you want to just cover the chat while I just jump down? I need to find the one on Iron Jaws. I know it's a while since you played Iron Jaws, but
engine riggers with the specialist guns will go up. Ironclad Sky Cannon will be hitting on a 5-up as well. Yeah. Johan has already got a premium account. That's awesome, Johan. I hope that the content is good. And there is more on the way as well. With the new setup, actually, Phil, we've got these new cameras that let us zoom in massively now. So the quality, we've had a lot of comments saying that you want more close-up shots of the armies and the models that are taking part in the battles. So we've obviously decided that we're going to listen to your suggestions and buy these really awesome cameras so that we can zoom in. And they're all working, aren't they, Phil? So you're pretty excited about that.
Well, should we have a quick look at that? Maybe we can have a quick look at that before we move on to the rest of the chat. Because I think, you know, like you said, you've not played Iron Jaws for a while. We've still got about 10 minutes of the show. I wanted to do a quick sneak preview of the Zoom cam. Now, normally we wouldn't be showing the kind of the bit in between where it transitions and zooms, but I just want to show, you know, here's an example of it, looking at, you know, some models right at the far end of the table. And it looks pretty impressive. We're nice and close. I'm just going to pull out just kind of the main area, so you'll see it kind of. So you can see I've got a range of models lined up at the back of the table there. And just to demonstrate how close we can get to some of these models, I'm just going to kind of zoom right in, right at the back of the table there, onto the Beastclaw Raider and the Dryad. And as you can see, they're literally in the last 4 inches of the table. So we're getting right into the models. You can see the paint schemes, because I think it's fair to say we work quite hard on the whole aspect of the hobby, painting these models and making them look beautiful and all the rest. I have to say, though, the Beastclaw Raider I've zoomed in on is only half complete. Jack's still working away on that and is absolutely neck deep in A-level exams at the moment. So I think it's going to be about another week and a half before he can get back onto the hobby table, but he will be doing so. Now, I'm just going to sort of show you how the great thing about this camera is as well, we can pre-program a whole bunch of positions. So as battles start to develop on the table, we can kind of call those positions up and get close to the action on each one of the units. So I'm just sort of showing now. I'm just jumping around the table, Sam. I know you've got a bit of a delay there, but I'm jumping around, sort of showing the magma draft. And if I sort of call up the next one, it's kind of going to jump across. And we've got your wonderful Brayherd stone that Patrick made. So finally, we can show that in all its glory on the channel as well, because it's ace, that stone. I absolutely love it. And
well, the thing is, the quality is much better than the camera equipment we were using before. And I think once we get better lighting, it will be even better, because that's in your studio, isn't it, where the lighting is as good as you can get it at the moment. But I think once we have some more stuff around the room that shines a little bit more light at a lower angle, I mean, it looks good already. It looks pretty good. I don't, you know, the improvements that we're doing, obviously, all of the money that we get donated and the money that we get through the premium subscriptions, you can see that we're buying the equipment, and the quality, I think it's well worth it. I think the battle reports are going to be better because of it. And all of the hard work that we go through of building, painting and converting these armies, it's actually worth doing it when you've got something that can zoom in and show it. And I think, touching on that, actually, one thing we don't really talk about that much, but we obviously try and do as much content as fast as we possibly can. We're not like dragging our feet or anything, but we do the entire hobby as Wargamer Online. We don't, you know, we've had a lot of really good painters and accomplished painters offer to paint us full armies to use on the channel. And something that we've always done from the beginning is be very involved in the hobby. We do all of the building, the converting and the painting ourselves. We build all of the scenery, we design the boards, and we do everything so that it's a hobby as well as a channel. Now, the sacrifice for that is we don't necessarily get as many battle reports out as we would have liked to have done, and we don't have as many armies to cycle through. But the bonus of that is every army we do, we choose to do it ourselves, and we know the army's a little bit better because of it. We still get mistakes wrong, but I think that's something we don't really talk about with the channel, really, Phil, is that we are hobbyists. the priority is that we do our hobby and we enjoy it, and then we do the battle reports alongside that and try to get out as many varied battle reports as we possibly can from that. And as we're building these collections up and we're working on more and more armies, we'll be able to create more content alongside that, which I think will be a good thing.
And the thing is, as well, is this what we've been working on. As you were talking, I was just zooming the camera around and doing different parts of the table and those kind of things. But the other thing about this is we've been working quite hard to make the technology more accessible, so we can train more people to help us with the battle reports, and that's the thing. Because you spent a huge amount of time before the channel launched in terms of getting to absolute grips with every nuance of editing software, and then the multi-camera setup and stuff that we're kind of recognized for. But what we've done is managed to reduce the edit time down so much, but we've also managed to kind of reduce the complexity of doing that. So I'm filming a battle report on Wednesday. It's going to be 40k. I think it's going to be Blood Angels versus Eldar or Tyranids. I've not decided yet. I know Eldar better, but I'd quite like to do some Tyranidy stuff.
Do Tyranid. Just do pure combat.
Just pure combat mash. And Mark, who's been on a couple of the last battle reps, he's coming down to help man the cameras and everything. So in the past, that will get us 2/3 of the way there towards a fully edited battle report, if not more. So it's going to be good to be able to kind of do that as well. So it's pretty exciting stuff. Right, I've been zooming around the table as we said all of that, and in that time as well, we're about 4 minutes away from the end of the show. Is it worth just catching up a little bit on the chat? I saw some...
Yeah,
yep, go for it.
Andy just put awesome. You're definitely making a case of getting a premium account. It wasn't a pitch of setting up a premium account. It was more of all of our premium members. We do appreciate everyone who does subscribe, because it allows us to do what we're doing. But it's also, we are just people at the end of the day. We don't have a huge team. It's myself and Phil with a bunch of help from local gamers, and we do what we can for the channel, and we just appreciate everything we get back. So it's just highlighting that there's not like 100 people behind the scenes doing all of the work. Me and Phil learn all of the technology, paint all of the armies, and produce all of the content as best we can. And it's good to at least say that every now and again. Is that Lola going crazy?
Of course it's Lola. It's coming towards the end of the show, so yeah. Lola needs to go and bark at something, of course.
That's all right. Stewie's just jumped back out of the cage as well.
There's a comment here from someone, Demon Lizard from Outer Space, which first time I've seen them comment that I'm pretty certain I would have remembered Demon Lizard from Outer Space. So welcome to the
has
chat.
Been on the channel before.
Has been on the channel. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, excellent. But so I wonder if Skaven will get a proper battle tome before Stormcast will get their third version.
Maybe before that fifth, if you cross your fingers and pray.
Who knows? I'd love to do Skaven, I have to say. I know Mike's back, which is great, and he's got his Skaven, which is awesome. But Skaven's one of those, if I've got 3 lifetimes, I'd definitely get Skaven covered in my second lifetime. Maybe.
I think Eshin would be the way that I would go. Eshin clan, 100%, but they need to have some models that don't just look like monkeys. I think when they bring out some cool assassin Skaven, I'll start them. But until then, Skaven is all Mike. As far as I'm concerned.
I think we're going to see a major Skaven update on that stuff, because after seeing what they can do with them for both Blood Bowl and Silver Tower, let's see more. Okay, Steve says, "Oh yeah, Steffert up for 2,000 points. That's the great news. I was down at the studio on Sunday. This equipment has been. I've been showing Patrick's Braystone thing throughout all of that. I'll change the camera angle for a minute. Why not?" But yes, set the studio up on Sunday, got all of this up and running, and the lighting is much better in the studio as well, and that's one thing I was happy about. So I can't wait to get that. I am going to tweak the lighting here as well. I've worked out what the problem is. It's all my lighting is in one spot, so it creates strong shadows. So I'm just going to spread the lighting out and hopefully soften the shadows a little bit. But Sam, you'll see this back. I know you haven't been able to watch this, so you'll see this back. And actually, it's not looking too bad anyway. I've done a bit of work to kind of reduce the shadows. So I think we're getting there. Right, what time is it? It's 1 minute to. Well, we've had a bit of a catch-up on Age of Sigmar 2nd edition. We've had a quick look at what we're doing bat reppiness wise, and we've had a bit of a chat about the channel. It's been nice this, Sam. Can you mess your internet up on a Saturday more and join me more on a Monday maybe?
I think we should probably do at least one live show a week where we do a group one. Whether we just do, instead of a Saturday show or a Monday show, we just do a group one. Because I prefer just coming on and chatting to people as well. As obviously we've got a chat, but it's better just to bounce ideas back and forth. And we haven't had any arguing this stream. Normally we at least bicker about something. It's been a while. Maybe we forgot to
we forgot to schedule a bicker back in, didn't we? Really, that's the thing.
I just read some more comments as well. Awesome Shreves has put no problem. We should be thanking you, which is awesome. We do like the fact that people watch our content. That's the first and foremost. But thanking us, that's a whole new level. Thank you very much. Kiblams, cheers, super late. Chaos Sponge, you're doing a great job. I'm a tight-fisted northerner, and you're the first channel I've ever paid premium.
Oh, that is honour indeed. That is honour indeed. Thank you very much, Chaos Sponge.
Coleman put, it hurts less after a couple of months. Oh, and Andy's put a count done. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Andy. That's great.
And now you guys do a great job and have a fantastic channel. I mean, this is why we don't really talk about it, because we do get so many really nice messages, don't we, in comments where people are saying we're doing a good job and things. But sometimes I think me and Phil both know we wish we could do more. Yeah. Me personally, I'm sitting there thinking we could do this, we could do this, we could do this, and there's just not enough time in the day. I've spent the entire day faffing with the internet, and I'm kicking myself because I should have been basing a model or painting something for a tutorial, and it does get me down. At the end of the day, I think, well, that was a complete waste of 12 hours of my time. But you're better at it than me.
I think today was an exception, though, for you, wasn't it, really? That was a technology fail day, you know. Yeah, back in my days as an operations director, we used to have a code called tech fail. It was just when that computer would go down and you couldn't do anything. And it used to, like, build up for your holiday entitlement because we just knew how stressful it was.
Well, Martin's told me to make a radar or something, get some kitchen foil and wrap it around the router to reflect the radio waves. So I'm at the level now. That's my next step. I'm going to start trying kitchen foil and obviously your router. I'm going to borrow your router and see if that works.
I am going to bring a router down for you. Yeah, I've actually got one. In fact, Sam, I think it's at the studio. So if you want to pop over and pick that up tomorrow, then it's at the studio. So just unplug it from everything and take it home with you and try it out.
Well, if we're using it at the studio, it needs to stay there.
We're not anymore. That was just while I was setting the studio up. We've now drilled holes in walls and routed through to the main network now. So I just had to set a little sub-network up to get these things working. But it's superfluous to need now.
Okay, I might just get you around here with your drill and you can just put holes in every single ceiling and wall until I get a wire up into this room.
Yeah, who needs Wi-Fi when you've got like a 25mm drill bit?
Yes, exactly. When you've got a fill, you don't need wireless. It's great.
Andy1980 says, well, I love the free content on YouTube already. Thanks again, Andy. That's awesome, man. Cheers. Okay, well, we're past 10 o'clock. Maybe it's time we call it a night. We'll no doubt see more updates from us as we go on. Wednesday, depending on how well the setup goes, we may actually just put that one up to Twitch as well. So it all depends on how confident Mark is at the camera switching and those kind of things, and how confident we are that things are working from the studio and the internet access is working. You never know, you might see the first Twitch live back rep from the studio. If not, we'll record it and it will definitely be on Premium by the weekend. So I expect to see some more Age of Sigmar stuff getting released from Premium to YouTube in the next couple of weeks as we keep an eye out for that. And we try and get, we'll get some more 40k battle reports done in the meantime. Other than that, it's going to be live shows. Have we got... Oh, this Wednesday, we have a playthrough of a game called Full Moon Jacket. So I think we're putting that live on Wednesday, aren't we? That's something I shot about a week and a half ago. And it's just the makers of Full Moon Jacket giving a demonstration and a playthrough, which was pretty cool. It's a pretty cool game and some amazing models. So check that out on Wednesday.
There are a few more comments, Phil. I know we need to
go on. Do it. I don't mind. We can hang around for 10 minutes more.
I'm just saying you need a Powerline Ethernet cable. I've used a Powerline, it doesn't work. And I've used a Wi-Fi extender, it doesn't work. It won't just be that, Phil. We won't talk about just wireless. Derpibus, however, just connects using Ethernet, so he has no wireless issues. Andy says he tries to avoid forums because it will take time away from painting, which it does, which is why I need to spend more time on the forum.
But it does inspire you to do more. That's the thing.
It does inspire,
I see some stuff on there and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, that's the thing, Andy. Like, once you've done your painting projects, take a picture, put them up on the forum, make your own thread, and then you can keep updating that. And as you paint your collection, your forum thread will grow and everyone can comment and give you tips or say, "Oh my god, that's amazing," and it will just keep making you want to do more and more. So that's the idea for the forum. Awesome Shreves has put. It was the first time that I realised that I can get Saurus Guard that have a 2-up save, and then using a Skink Priest can get them to never die. That's a good thing. Never dying Saurus Guard are pretty good. I know 2 of the guys we played at the tournament recently. They brought a filthy Saurus army. They were horrible. They were doing D3 damage. I think they had a 2-up save as well, and everything was in this big bubble where they just stomped things, and we just kind of avoided that big. Well, I avoided it. Patrick charged in and killed everything, but that's Patrick for you.
That was pretty much. I mean, you've just literally reviewed the tournament from start to finish for you.
I stayed away. I was very cautious, and then Patrick went in and killed everything. I can't wait for the next doubles tournament when I've got bows. I can fly around on my flying bows. Cheers for the tips. I'll start selling body parts to fund the army, says Ant. Ralph saying, can we have some more thumbs up? How many thumbs up are we on? 19. Thank you for those 19 people.
19. Oh, that's cool.
And have a look at Ubiquity, APACLR devices. I'm going to copy that now.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I've installed dozens of those, mate. Yeah, we'll have a chat about those. They are awesome. Ubiquity stuff, yeah, Unify and all that, like amazing. We'll talk about that. Okay then.
Cool. Let's go then. Let's go. We're done. I'm going to go and fight the internet.
I like how you said there's a load more comments and we need to cover it, and it's not all going to be about the network, but everything was about your network.
Not everything. Not everything. Here we go. Trying to pay attention to Sam and Phil is doing green screen shenanigans. What are you doing? You're putting green screen things on your eyes. Is that what you were doing? I saw something on your eyes.
I got some green masking tape, so I was just realising I could make bits of my body disappear.
Well, I was doing that with this grot. And I put this up on my failed Saturday show, and he's green, so he kind of disappears in the green screen as well. It was a bit rubbish. It's a ghost grot.
And I've made my can of Coca-Cola completely disappear as well. Oh,
cool.
Honestly, it is Coca-Cola.
I'm going to get a green T-shirt, and I'll just have a floating head. So I'll just come on the show, and you'll just see this floating head all over the place. Who's that? It's floating head Sam. That's a great idea.
I think I can do that. Hold on a second. Can I pick this up? There you go. Oh no, my earpiece has come out, so I've lost it. Look, we're literally just messing around now and doing absolutely nothing at all. So.
I think it's a better show because of it. I think we should just get green screens and just see what we can do with it.
Right, okay. I can't actually move my head, but this is working really well. This looks amazing.
Is that the right green? Is that the right green?
That is the right green. That's perfect. It's just disappearing into blackness, though. Right. Okay. I think we need to call it a show. I'm just a disembodied head. It's time to call it a night, and we'll see you all again soon. Cheers, then.
Thanks for watching, and thanks for subscribing. Thanks for all the donations as well.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Thank you, everyone.
And the premium subscribers as well.
Bye, Void Dragon. Void Dragon's just come in at the end and said hello. Bye.